Hello and welcome to another tutorial. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make this Jungley Reese bass. Just a quick word to say, please do like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel so I can keep making this kind of content, then consider buying one of my preset or sample packs listed in the description below the video. As always, this patch will be made available for free below the video. So let's get started. So we're going to start by adding a new MIDI track, which is Control-Shift-T. We're going to drag the MIDI over from the original track. And we're going to delete the original track. Then we can bring in a new instance of Serum. Turn it down by -6 dB. And we can color code. And we can rename it to Jungley Reese. We're going to go into oscillator A. And then we're going to choose the Reese Mess 1 waveform from the spectral menu. We want to drop the oscillator down 2 octaves, increase the unison to 7, and this is to give the patch a sense of movement. We're going to make sure Serum is in monophonic modes, so we can only play one note at a time, as we don't want multiple bass notes overlapping. I'm also going to put the portamento on always, and I'm going to turn it up the portamento time. I'm going to increase the attack and the release a small amount too. Next, we want to add a low pass filter and increase the cutoff a little. We're going to use an LFO to modulate a few different parameters. So I'm going to go to LFO 1, change it to trigger mode. And this means that it will re-trigger whenever a new note is played. I'm going to also tweak the rate to 2 bars, so it's a slower acting LFO. We're going to modulate the detune value here. You can see it's modulated in both directions, so that's bidirectional. And you can change this by clicking Shift and Alt. And we're also going to drag it to the cutoff of the filter. And I'm going to press Shift and Alt so that it's being modulated in both directions. And I'm also going to use it on the wavetable position, but this time it will only be in one direction. I might also use another LFO, for example, maybe for the filter cutoff, and we'll choose an even slower rate. Again, we want to put it on trigger modes. We can remove this, and then we can drag LFO 2 over to the filter cutoff. Shift and Alt again. The key with these modulations is that they're very subtle because we want the sound to be subtly changing over time. Now we can start to process the sound. So those of you who watch my videos will be familiar with the technique that I use here. So we're going to use Command G to group Serum to itself. We're going to duplicate it within the channel using Command D or Control D. We can rename this to sub and this to top. We're going to split the different channels with an EQ3. Change the low to 100 and change the high to 700. Then we can drag it into the sub layer. And then we can control or command drag to the top layer to duplicate. As it's a sub layer, I've only chose to activate the low band here. This will be the mid layer, but what we need to do again is group it to itself and then duplicate it and then add the high layer there, and we can rename these. We're going to change the sub to a pure sine wave. So we want to turn on the sub oscillator and take it down 2 octaves. This is because we want the sub bass to be consistent. I'm also dragging in a compressor to compress the sub for the same reason, to make it more consistent. Also gives you the option to rebalance things slightly. For example, here, I thought the sub sounded a bit quiet, so I've effectively used the compressor to also increase the level. And we can start to overdrive the individual layers here as well. So the mid layer. We can also try with the high layer. Listen in the context of the track as well. We're also going to mono the mid band just because we don't want it to be too wide. And we're actually going to mono everything below 2 kilohertz as well, which I do using isotope alloy. And we'll listen again in context. Finally, we can apply a bit of reverb, which I have set up on a send here. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this sound design video, and I'll see you again next time.